returning after completing Song 2 here in the Grubwood. Here's again the art of the Grubwood for a little bit of thematics. So I wanted to, in this session, kind of review what happened, the overall story that happened to Maeve, and then maybe do a little bit of end of session leveling up and rewards. We'll see how far I get. So to recap, I came into the Grubwood from, remember we're sort of turned here, this is the north side of the Grubwood. Maeve is trying to get through the Grubwood from Horns of the South. I keep saying Horns of the South, it says Horns of South here. So again, the path is coming up here, Horns of South, and then kind of trucking across the northern part of the Grubwood here, trying to exit out and head north to this settlement. So as you can see here on the path, came in from this direction. Maybe I'll start here. This first event, as a recap, this Page of Pentacles was actually Menhir, which was pretty cool. Maeve came in and discovered a Menhir on the edge of the forest, which was good because this is an area that's in high levels of weirdness, level 3 out of 4. But unfortunately, Maeve's creativity and sort of understanding of how to activate Menhirs was not very strong, and she wasn't able to do much more than admire it and move forward. She could come back though and try to reactivate it later. One of the things we did as a recap was we added the Menhir to the map here, so that will stay there. Then we went to this location, started to move east through the woods, and here she had an exploration encounter where she actually sprouted a third limb from her chest that was made of wood, kind of like the limb of a tree. And I had her sort of make a check for inspiration for horror to deal with it, and she was able to pass it. So it is just kind of rolling with the punches that passing through this haunted forest, she's grown a third arm. Then she went here north to this Page of Cups. This was potentially a medium treasure. Her perception is not great, which has been a persistent issue with her. So let me go back to her character sheet so you can see this. Her perception is quite low, 3 out of a 3. So impossible to make the perception check to find it. So again, my interpretation was that she thought she saw a huge mound of buried something next to a tree trunk. But when she dug it up, it was just kind of refuse from an animal. Then heading east, I believe in this location, I may mix up these two, but in this location, I believe she encountered a pack of acid or sort of mutated animals here in the woods as she's trucking through that had acid coming from their mouths, as acid saliva. So this was just kind of a basic combat challenge, and Maeve, her main strength is as a warrior, so her 10 combat sort of made relative ease of these monsters, and she was able to cut them down without much issue and move forward. So if you're keeping track so far, that's 2 failures, 1 success, inspiration, and combat. So 2 successes, 2 failures. Then I went east. This is another conflict challenge. This time, the event was that a fog started spreading out from the Grubwood, and the way I interpreted it was that it's sort of the fog that was, and by the way, the effect that was happening, which kind of matched here, the weirdness effect that we had was that there was a ritual that had caused a sort of cursed fog to come over the Grubwood. And if I drew 4 cards that were all of different suits, all of a sudden the ritual would start to affect me, and I would start having big bonuses or penalties to my resolution rolls. But so that fog started to spread out here and started sort of hurting and choking the people in the settlement. So perhaps Maeve was sort of near the edge of the forest here and could see this cursed fog start spreading to the settlement, and she knew it was harming folks, but she couldn't really do much to get to it. Maybe the idea is she couldn't pass through the fog because it was dangerous to herself. So I had her make another inspiration check. That, as far as like this, what the skill check was here, it's kind of like she can't really do much about that, but I would imagine it's horrifying, similar to the tree trunk coming out of her chest. Thankfully, Maeve is quite strong in inspiration. She has a lot of resilience, a lot of conviction, so she was able to pass that check as well and sort of soldier on, and just kind of motivated her to get out of the forest. She was kind of let's say she was kind of like right here, she needed to get around this fog and head out across. So she had to cut south a little bit, and this was the most dramatic. This is a Queen of Wands face card, and the event that occurred here was that she ran across a troop of four dwellers, armored four dwellers, which are very strong combatants, four-armed, huge, enemies of humanity, who immediately saw her and tried to attack her. I immediately, like, looking at their stats, there was no chance I thought I could take these guys on, especially if you look at my health. In this game, you mark off when you take damage, so I was at 9 out of 15 damage. There's no way I could defeat them, so I fled, and which caused a medium setback, which turned out to be a wound of 2. So I interpreted that as that basically they sort of started surrounding her as they saw her in the woods, and she turned, basically, thought of fighting for a moment, but just turned tail and ran and started fleeing toward the edge of the woods. And on her way past, one of them maybe cut across her back and did 2 wounds of damage. So she reached the edge of the woods here, and the next step will be to set up the next song in the settlement that I've been trying to head to this whole time, because Maeve's main quest is to try to help the people of Avalon. She didn't do that much in this. I mean, she destroyed a pack of mutated animals or mutated monsters here in the forest, but maybe she can find out more ways that she can help, and maybe get a little help herself if she gets to that settlement. But, so if we're keeping track again, this was a failure, this flee here. This is a success. So we had 1, 2, 3 successes, 1 combat failure, and 2 normal successes. So we can go again to the section that talks about leveling up to see how we do here. I think I can get to it quickly, hopefully. Yep, here we go. So as a recap, the way you do this is that you calculate the total number of successes obtained from challenges and non-combat events. Then you calculate the total number of successes from combat events, which was 0 for me, unfortunately. As a reminder, the combat events give more XP, so I might be have a little bit more of a problem this time. Let's see. Then calculate the total number of successes and failures separately. So I think I actually got a pretty similar amount of XP this time. I got 3 + 1 for every successfully resolved challenge and non-combat event. So that was 3 for me, and 3 successes. So 3 times 4 is 12 XP. And I didn't have any successful combat events. I fled from the one that I was doing. And then, we can keep track of this at the same time. I gain AP in the following way. 2 or 3 successes is 3 AP. So let's go record those. So that's 4 times 3 successes, that's 12 XP, and 3 AP for my 3 successes. So let me go back to my character and record those 2. I did not have 5 XP. Actually I do have, so I went back and forth about this. I realized I had messed up my health situation. So this is all the damage I took from the boar the original time, damage of 9, and then 2 more from the 4 dwellers. So I'm already at 11 damage out of 15. But so now during this phase, at any point I can spend survival points to heal. I think I probably should at this point. Once you're down to below 5 health, you can heal for 5. So I will do that real quick. Let me get a eraser here. So I can go in and I can, hopefully this will work. I can erase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 health, and that will take my survival points down to 2. That's the messiest 2 I've ever written. Let me try that again. 2. And then I still have my 5 XP. I could use this 5 XP to get more survival points, but let's see what we want to do. So I got 12 more XP, so that puts me at 17 total XP. And yeah, and then the ascension points. So I got 3 more ascension points. I am not working through my story very quickly. As you can see here, I don't even know how many this is, but that's less than half of the way through Act 1. So it's an interesting sort of inner balance here, because I'm getting XP as I do this, And so I'm leveling up and stuff. And once I go to Act 2, things will get more difficult. So it's kind of like an interplay of how quickly you want to move through, which more likely you might die or something. But if you move through too quickly, then things will start getting more difficult for you. So that was my advancement there, or rather that was me getting my XP and AP. And I think the next step is for us to look at what setbacks I might have had because of what occurred. So the setbacks, I did have 3 failures. If I had had less than 3 failures, I would have had no setbacks, but I had 3, exactly. So I had a minor setback. So let's see here if it talks about, I love these little interstitial art things. So turn to page 74, we're gonna have to do a setback on page 74. You head over there. Here are the setbacks. So we have the minor setbacks table. It can be nothing, as you can see. The setbacks can be blank. So let's draw a card and see what happens. So we'll go shuffle, just loose shuffle here. Draw 1, it's a 1. So that's the 1, the magician. I like that art. So that's good news because a 1 on the minor setbacks table, sorry about the rotation there, a 1 on the minor setbacks table is a blank. So that means even though I had a minor setback, no actual setback occurred. So that was not too bad. I took a little bit of damage from the Four Dwellers. I got some XP. I didn't have a major setback, or rather a minor setback. So that is the remainder of that piece, the setbacks. And now I think we can do the advancement of characters. So we can, again, this reaching metamorphosis only occurs when you go to the next act. This rest and healing, so this is a potential option here. In order to get 2 health points back, I would have to do a difficulty test of 11 plus the act difficulty, which is 3, so 14. So the challenge here is with my current healing, there's no way I can do that. My healing is 3. So if I raise my healing one with my XP, I could, on a 10, heal. That'd be nice. But I think I actually want to raise my perception. I think what's really been messing me up recently is I keep getting these like minor treasures and stuff like that, and she's just not able to find the treasure. At least if I drew a 10 there, and I can even do redraws, I could potentially find some treasure. My gear is pretty bad recently, or overall I have like a bail hook that I got from the hide of an animal, which is not too great. So yeah, let me raise my perception by 1 here, and that'll raise that to 4. So now I have 4 perception, so it's theoretically possible if I draw a 10, I can get a 14, which will allow me to see stuff. So that takes away 10 of my XP. I can just quickly show how that occurs real quick in case you have forgotten or didn't see this the first time. There, it has in the spending XP section, you can spend it on a number of different things. Okay, it's on page 65. Let me get there real quick. XP. So I chose to level up skills, which is score to reach 1 to 5 is a 10. So I was raising to 4, so that cost 10 XP. I don't have XP for anything else on here. I only have 7 left. So my option is to save my XP, or I could spend my 5 XP to get one of my survival points back. So far, I haven't been using my survival points a huge amount, but the interesting thing here is I can use my survival points at any point, but I can only recover survival points here at the end of a song when I'm spending XP to level up. So there's a little bit of a decision of if I want to do that ahead of time to go back up to 3, or whether I want to stay at 2 and risk it. And I think I don't know offhand where the table is that talks about what you can do with survival points, but if I recall correctly, it's let me see if I can find it really quick while I'm talking. What you can do with survival points are things like you can spend 1 to reroll dice, you can spend 1 to heal like I did, you can spend I'm not recalling what the other ones are, but there's two other things that you can do with 2 survival points. So maybe rather than searching on camera, I'll do that the next time. So maybe since I can't even recall what the survival point stuff is, I'll stay with the 2 and I'll keep my 7 XP. Maybe that'll be enough to bump me over to getting even 20 next time, where I could raise one of my other stats more. So I believe, oh, the last step here is I have to name my song, I believe. So we had rest and healing. The rest of this stuff, oh, well, there's permanent events. So it says, I haven't done this yet. If they're permanent events, like as men here, turn to the character and pencil each card with an M. I already did that in the shown arrangement. If you discovered a new men here and were able to revive it, I didn't. This is interesting though. It basically, if you haven't yet done so, so the current territory's weirdness would lower down from 3 to 2 permanently. But that's the end of that. So you can use this moment to make final annotations about the song, things like that. I might log sort of the story as I did it, and then a song name. I'll say if anything comes to me immediately, maybe something like, you know what, I'm not going to think about it on camera. Something about, like, obviously her failures here were around interacting with the men here, fighting off the 4 dwellers, finding the treasure again is not very thematic. But, you know, maybe something, because both the 4 dwellers and the men here are part of like Avalon's pre-existing supernatural elements, maybe something about her fighting against those supernatural elements, or trying to, you know, that's another piece of her ability to help people with the weirdness, is to be able to navigate the existing threats on Avalon, and she didn't do a super great job here. So I'll think about a song name off camera, but it'll be something in that vein. Maybe I'll share it when I come back for the next one, which will be, hopefully, finally, maybe we can do a preview. What is this settlement? I haven't even looked. Location 31. Let's look real quick to see what this is. So location 31 is, let's see here, Horns of the South. I'll just quickly swipe through to location 31. Almost there. Whoa. A prosperous, fertile land, tight-knit communities. All right. There's villages preparing for conflict. A lot of intrigue. Yeah, hopefully we'll find a settlement in here. This will be interesting. All right, well, that's going to end it for Song 2. And the next time you see me, we'll be starting Song 3. See you all later.